Hi guys, it's Ray of Light and I want to welcome you guys back to my channel. Today is November 11th. That means it is Veterans Day, so I want to say happy Veterans Day to all of those who serve and who have served our country. I want to thank you for your service. In the light, in the spirit of Veterans Day, I am too also a veteran. I'm currently serving in the Air Force. I've been in for 9 years now. I'm about to hit 10 years soon. Time has flown by. But with that being said, I have a pretty spooky story to tell you guys of my time that I served in Iraq. It was one of the more trying times in my life. It was very difficult for me and of course my family. In May 2010, I received notification that I was going to be deployed to a camp called Balad. Now, Balad is I think in the southern tip of Iraq. I'm not really sure exactly where it is. But I was going to be going out there within a few weeks of the time frame that I was notified. So I finally get there and I'm settled in, and I'm the type of person that tries to make the best out of every situation, you know, because when you're in the military, you kind of just have to learn to adapt and overcome and kind of accept your situation. Anyway, while I was in Balad, I was in a mixture of services. So there was Air Force, Army, Marines, as well as Navy, and they had me working in this back office where I in-process people who came in who were also deployed. I was known as their accountability, so whenever they needed numbers or whenever they needed to find someone, they came to me. Myself settled in, and after a few weeks or so, I started having some serious sexual harassment issues with some of the people that I worked with. It got to the point where I was a little afraid to leave my little tent area that I stayed in, because the person that was sexually harassing me lived right across from me, and he made his advances very well known, and I was a little afraid that, you know, he might catch me at a time where it's dark and no one's there. So what I did was I made a complaint about it, and I told them how I was feeling, and I asked if either they could send me back home or if they could please move me to a different camp. And so that's what they did. They decided to move me, and they sent me to Baghdad, and I was at this camp called Camp Victory, for the remainder of my deployment. As I was at this camp, of course, I liked it a whole lot better than where I previously was stationed. And I was starting to make friends really well, and I was just more adjusted. I felt like the place where I was my type of place to be. You know, it just felt, I made the best of a bad situation, basically. So as time went on, I ended up getting a roommate because we had these little tents that we called chews, C-H-U, chew, and it's like basically like a trailer, but a smaller version of a trailer, and there's no bathrooms, of course, and the living quarters is you share with another individual. So the chew was this trailer that had basically like 2 rooms on each side, and the middle was like a wall closet that split the 2 rooms. But there was like a gap in between the wall and the wall closet, so it made like a doorway, so the other individual that's on the other side of the room can walk around to the other member's room, you know, just in case you guys wanted to chat or they were trying to leave out the room, or whatever the reason was. So I was in the room, settled in. I got a new roommate. Her and I hit it off really easily. She was really cool. We're even still good friends to this day. And you know, we got our stuff set up, you know, so we were working together as well as living together, and it was a good combination because her and I, we worked well. So over time, I noticed that there was a lot of full moons. Like, I know typically there's like maybe a 1 full moon or maybe 2 full moons within a month, and I noticed, I don't know, maybe if it was just my mind or maybe I was delirious, I don't really know, but I noticed when I was living in Iraq that the moon was always full. It was always full, and it didn't have like a regular feel to it. like how you would have back home. You know, at home it seems like the moon is like really high up in the sky, and you know it's usually like this glowing yellow color, you know, or like a whitish tint to it, you know, something like that. Like that's what I would usually see when I was at home. But in Iraq it was a completely different story. I swear this moon was like orange. It was like this orangey color, and it was huge. It was just like amazingly huge. It's like I don't know what the altitude was where I was currently at at that time, but it was like as the altitude was it's extremely high, like I was in a mountainous area. It didn't feel like I was in a mountainous area, but that's how high it was. It just seemed as if the moon was extremely close, and it always felt as if you were being watched. I would, there was a lot of the times I would of course leave my room, and the way that the chews were set up, where they were like chews in each row, and then there would always be one major trailer that had a shower for the females and a shower for the men. And so you know, of course I would get off of work. It was extremely hot because I got there during May time frame, and I would get off of work and I would want to just like peel my clothes off and go take a shower. Sometimes I would wait till it got a little later in the day so I could actually cool down after the shower, you know, instead of profusely sweating. So I waited until maybe like around maybe 8 or so, when the sun started going down and it got dark outside. Then I would go take my showers. And I was noticed as I was walking out of my chew and going to the trailer where the showers were, that I always felt as if I was being watched. But I didn't feel like somebody was like over my shoulder watching me. It felt like it was coming from the sky. And that might sound so weird, you guys, but I swear it was as if I was always being watched. Like I always felt like I was never quite alone. I'm in an open field, and it's like I'm being watched by extraterrestrials. I don't know. So anyway, I noticed a couple of times that I would come back from the shower and there would be snakes around my chew. And sometimes it would even be in the morning time. Sometimes it would be at night. But Iraq is a very desert type of climate. You don't really see too much wildlife there unless it's at night because it's so hot out there. But in the morning time, I thought it was kind of odd that I would come back from breakfast and I would notice there would be like snakes slithering around my chew. And I wouldn't see it anywhere else. I wouldn't see it in the bathrooms. I wouldn't see it near other people's rooms. I would always just see it underneath our particular chew. So I was like, all right, well, you know, I guess it's cooler in this area. I don't know. I really didn't think too much of it because the snakes, they didn't look harmful. They didn't look poisonous. So I didn't really think anything of it, you know. A few nights later is when things got a little bit more creepier. My roommate and I, we were in our rooms, and I was watching a movie, and she was, I think, Skyping with her family. And I decided I was going to go ahead and go to sleep. So she was in the corner. The way our rooms were set up, like I told you, there was a wall closet in the middle that separated the two. My bed was near the entrance of the room, and her bed was on the other side. So she just kind of had like that, her personal space back there. There was no door. It was just her area. So every time she had to leave or every time she came in, of course, she came into my area first because the door entry was right there in front of my bed. So one night, like I said, she was Skyping with her family and I was watching a movie. It was getting late, so I was like, I need to go ahead and get some sleep because when you're deployed, you work 12-hour shifts. So you, of course, when you need to get some rest, I mean, or you're going to just go bonkers if you don't. So I was like, okay, it's getting late. Let me go ahead and get some sleep before I have to wake up in a few hours. So I'm laying in my bed and I'm trying to force myself to sleep. And I'm the type of person, I have to hear something in order for me to be able to get peaceful sleep. So I hear my roommate over there talking to her family on Skype. So I decided to turn my little TV off that I had, and I would just kind of like listen to the background noise of her conversing with her family, and that was kind of a soothing mechanism that helped me go to sleep. I am trying to doze off to sleep. I hear her click off and I hear her tell her family she's going to bed. So she turns off her Skype and shuts her computer, and I hear her kind of flop into the bed and, you know, get adjusted. So I didn't turn the TV back on. At this point, I'm like, I just fall asleep, you know, eventually. And as I have my head buried into the pillow, I'm sleeping on my stomach, I feel as if someone, like, comes into the room. You know, I don't hear the door opening, nothing like that. I know my roommate is laying in the bed, so I know it cannot possibly be her. But I feel as if someone just kind of like eases their way into our room. And I know that there is a person or something standing behind me. It was a big person because I felt like when they came in, they filled up a huge space, you know? And so I was too afraid at this point to turn around to see who was behind me. So what I did was I just kind of like laid perfectly still. And I was like, because I knew it wasn't any actual person or, you know, an individual that walked in. I knew it was something paranormal or maybe extraterrestrial, I don't know, but I knew it was something unworldly. So I just lay there perfectly still, and I'm just like, please go away, please go away, please go away. That's what I'm like saying in my head, please go away. And this thing, like, I feel it move around my area, you know, and then I feel it move from my side over to her side. And I'm just thinking like, oh my God, like it finally left. Like, thank God it left. You know, that's what I'm thinking. Like, thank God it left. And I was just thinking to myself, like, I feel like it's still in the room, but it's over there looking at her now. Like, this thing is over there staring at my roommate now. And I felt relieved, of course, because it's not looking at me anymore. But I'm just like, this thing is still in here, but it's looking at my roommate. So I just stood there. Like, I just sat there. I didn't say anything. I didn't move. I was kind of like frozen in fear almost, because I really felt as if I turned around, I'm going to see something. Like, I'm going to see something, and it might be ugly, and it's going to freak me the fuck out. So I just stay perfectly still. And eventually, I don't know how I did it, but I fell asleep. Woke up the next morning, and everything's still racing in my head about what happened that previous night. And I, you know, look at my roommate, and she's like all happy in a good mood. She's like, hey, you know, good morning. And, you know, and she does her little shower thing or whatever. And I'm just like laying in my bed like, yo, what the fuck was that? Like, that's what I'm thinking to myself. Like, I wonder if she felt that, you know. I didn't mention anything to her. I didn't say nothing to her because I didn't want to freak her out. And then I didn't want her to think I was crazy. So I didn't say nothing to her whatsoever. But over time, that never happened again. But over time, like I told you guys, I still felt as if I was being watched when I would leave the living quarters. I still felt as if something was looking at me from a far distance, but I knew that something was out there. It was just a very odd feeling. I've never felt that way in any other locations I've ever lived in, but in Iraq, and that was terrifying. I hope you guys enjoyed my story. Once again, happy Veterans Day to all of you who serve and who have served our country. And I hope you guys have a wonderful and beautiful, blessed day. And please stay tuned for more videos. If you haven't already done so, please like, comment, and subscribe. You guys take care. Have a wonderful day. God bless. Bye.